She's a conservative and I'm liberal, and yet we've been friends for almost 40 years. Everyone says you shouldn't discuss politics, religion, or money. We say that's exactly what friends should be talking about. Join us as we tackle the conversations you're having in your head, but are too scared to say out loud. Hello, Jolene.
Hi.
So let's just get into this. We had a totally different topic ready to go, and we got to talk about Biden and his diagnosis.
I don't want to keep just regurgitating what everybody else is saying. So I think we need to talk about it in terms of what our gut reaction is to the news. I mean, the gut reaction is, oh my gosh, this poor man has cancer, right? I mean, that's first and foremost, that needs to be, I hope that is everybody's reaction. However, the timing of this seems more than coincidental. The timing of releasing this news on the heels of Axios that released the audio of the her interview that happened in October of 23. Mm-hmm. And the transcripts were actually released last year, but the impact of it, of actually listening to them that were released last week are horrendous. 2 new books have been released this week too, which were going to be very incriminating of the Bidens and their inner circle and the Democratic Party and the machine. So it's, you and I reference Wag the Dog all the time. The movie, if you've not seen the movie, please watch. It's a funny, kind of satirical, but God, a lot of truth. So I know, right? I think when it came out 20 years ago, we all thought it was funny and satirical. And now we're like, God, there's so much truth to this. So I think we got to dig in deeper here. And do you think this information was kept, or do you really think that it was just that they just found his prostate cancer to be at this advanced stage last week?
Well, I think they kept a lot from us, not just the cancer. The cancer, truly, they might not have tested him. There was so much denial leading up to this second election. I listened to part of the Axio tapes. Obviously, it's 5 hours, so I didn't have time. But I listened to some of it. I listened to the New Yorker Radio Hour, the interview with Jake Tapper and Thompson. I listened to the Megyn Kelly interview with the Fifth Column guys, which they have a podcast. I happened to listen to this Fox America's Newsroom clip from last Friday, pre-cancer diagnosis. And I listened to it because of another episode that we're doing where we listen to each other's media. And a couple things. I'm going to start with that. That happened on Friday, pre-cancer diagnosis, or a public cancer diagnosis. They were doing an interview with McCarthy. It was Perino and Billhammer, your people. Yeah. And one thing that I observed that is different, it's a different lens than, let's say, the liberal media, was, Kevin McCarthy, he was so smug. And they were talking about this cover-up, and they had the 3 talking heads. And then on the right of the screen, they had video of every fall, flub, like him falling, him tripping. And this is, again, pre-cancer. And I was like, wow, this is so mean and so uncaring. Just like I felt during the debate, I have a mother and a stepmother that died of dementia. I know this disease well. I know he hasn't been diagnosed with it. But the shuffling, I knew this man wasn't okay, as did many Americans on the left and the right for years. Yeah. And no one stopped him. And I believe that, like, Schumer, Pelosi, the Democratic National Committee, they all need to go. They don't give a shit about him. They give a shit about their power. And it's really, really upsetting that as a liberal, a Democrat, and just a human being, that we care more about what it looks like and our tribalism and who's going to beat Trump than it is about this human being that needs care.
Okay, so why do you think they wanted him to run?
Because they were too afraid to run anyone else. It was all about beating Trump. And there's also ego. And the other thing with these illnesses, and again, I know he's not diagnosed with dementia, but I saw a lot of similarities. Yeah. That there is real in and out where people can be totally clear and then gone. Let me say this. When you have someone that you care about that's slipping, there's a ton of denial. And it can happen for months and sometimes years that you're like, oh, he's okay. No, when I was with him, like that's the new term. When I was with him so that no one is culpable. When I was with him, said Blinken, he was great. Really? If you can't tell, Jolene, I'm real pissed.
You are real pissed. Okay, but why do you think? Why do you think that if they knew, and I'm not even talking about the cancer, because I think that's another thing. The Free Press had an article on, and they interviewed 3 different doctors familiar with, cancer, prostate cancer and advanced cancers. And they all said, no, this is not something that just popped up. And especially when you're the president of the United States,
right,
who has every resource and every doctor available to you. This was not some, and then I think one of them said, well, it's not, you don't routinely check PSA levels once you're past 70. And 2 of these doctors said, you're the president of the United States. You check for absolutely everything.
But one thing, true. Jolene, I have to, from the quick deep dive I did in the last 24 hours, one thing that came clear over and over and over again was even as doctors that no one wanted to look.
Because afraid of what they'd see.
Correct. And no one wanted to tell him, and he's got ego. There was this protection because they thought no one else could beat Trump.
They thought that was their best shot. I mean, look at the polling that was done. And this was probably pre-debate. And then after debate, they were like, oh, wow. I mean, the polling showed that he didn't have a chance in hell.
But listen, the decline happened way before the debate.
Yes.
They were talking about how during, he was a perfect COVID president because we were all so isolated. He could only do Zoom.
Yeah.
Right? And that they could manage him. Everything was scripted.
Okay. So wait, right there. If everything was scripted, who was running the show? Who was running the presidency? Who was running our country? Who was writing the scripts? If everything was scripted, who was writing those scripts?
From what I'm gathering, even the cabinet was isolated. Even the Congress was isolated. That was the aides. These people were, devout to him. Loyal. And they loved him. I'm so mad. These people, all of these people, there was an interview with Schumer and he's like, we're not looking back. I want a party that takes responsibility. Do you know how amazing that would be? To be we screwed up.
Okay, so there's something I want to get to. I want to get
so get
there,
to
but
it.
I know, but I need you to help me get there.
Okay, I'm ready.
Do you really believe that he was the only one in the Democratic Party that had a chance to beat Trump?
No, I didn't.
Okay, all right. So there could have been, if they would have had a primary, they would have had somebody.
Jolene, I think you could ask probably almost every Democrat, and they would believe what I believe. That we were like, why is this guy running again? He said he wasn't going to run, and now he's running. This makes no sense. Have the confidence that there are many people out there that we have a primary. I mean, it's this whole thing these boomers won't leave. The Gen Xers are supposed to be the grown-ups and they don't give us a shot.
So do you think there were people in his inner circle that were actually running things that he had no control at all. Like he didn't cognitively know what was going on enough
No,
to, when
I
they
don't.
said you need to do this, he just did it because he
No,
wasn't.
I don't. No, I don't think he's that out of it. I listened to an hour of the 5 hours Axios thing, and there were moments that he is totally on.
And that interview was in October of 23.
And they're saying it happened, stuff happened in 21. I'm sure it did.
Isaac Saul even talked about, he goes, no, I saw it in 17.
Yes, yes, he did. I remember that. He was like, and that was the other thing, Jolene, that if it was a Republican, a Democrat, didn't matter. A journalist who's supposed to be nonpartisan, they would ask if anyone brought up, are you too old? Do you not have the cognitive faculties? The media would ram it down their throats.
Totally gaslight them.
How dare you? How dare you?
Yep.
And now everyone's like, oh my God. And I'm like, you know what, you fuckers? Linda,
Sorry, Linda.
It's deserved. Listen, take responsibility.
I get how mad you are, but we've got to get to why? Why did they think that they could continue to Weekend at Bernie him and get him to be the puppet? If you look at Susan Rice and Samantha Power, were they these inner circle advisors that maybe didn't have the political capital to run themselves, but they found the power? And let's say there's 5 of them, let's say that there were 5 really smart people around Biden who said, we can run this country ourselves. We just need him as the figurehead. Do you think that could be a possibility?
I don't think it's as pointed as that. I think it's more fear-based, honestly. I think it's 2 things. I think it's fear-based and it is power. I think they're afraid of losing their jobs, and they like their jobs, and they like running the country.
Yeah.
Like anyone in a corporation that's afraid they're going to get their job taken away. It's that sort of like, I would imagine it's more panic than like, ooh, let's.
Let's just say it started out of necessity. Let's say it started in his first term. I mean, his only term, but it came out of necessity that, okay, everything's got to be scripted. And even, they were saying that even, questions with donors were planted. Like he knew the questions and he knew the answers. And I think this came out of the New York Times podcast that you had me listen to this morning.
Daily?
Yes, the Daily. Thank you. And that the people had the questions. This is the question you're going to answer. You're going to be called. It was all so scripted. Like everything was scripted. So if that's the case, if they have to do that type of maneuvering in, 22 and 23, like how did they even fathom that he could run a second term?
I don't know. What I'm
right?
also gathering is
none of us can fathom that, right?
Right. And I guess through history, there have been, cover-up's the wrong word, but like maybe cover-ups of many presidents who have been ill during office, and they're like, oh, what? Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Part of it, I imagine, let's play with this a second. Let's say he gets elected, and fairly soon after, things start to get a little bit tricky with him. I would imagine there's a national security issue of like, how do we keep us all safe versus going, you know what, you guys, as in America, Biden's not okay. We need to actually do something now. Like that's never happened. I think it would be incredible, but I think it would probably not be in our security's interest. I don't know. But that's what I want. I want transparency.
100%.
But it's never been done.
Right. Okay, so may I posit this?
Yes.
What if this diagnosis of the prostate cancer, and it was aggressive, and it's an aggressive form, and it's metastasizing, was actually available a year ago, let's say? Could they have said at that point, it's too late to get somebody else to run? What we need to do is just get him through the election, and then Kamala will be the president.
Maybe.
And that everybody was on board with that plan. It could have been a year ago, whatever. until he screwed up the debate. And then all of a sudden they went, oh shit. We're going to have to do Kamala right now. And then she blew it. Is that plausible?
Well, listen, I just heard something on the New Yorker NewsHour where it was the interview with Jake Tapper and, is his name Mark Thompson?
I think it's Alex.
Alex, I'm sorry. Sorry, Alex Thompson. They talked about how, well, there's a couple things. Like, there's so much ego and so many resentments throughout the years. Obviously, he's a real human being. But, like, there's some, like, incredible love for Obama and resentment for Obama. And he never forgot that Kamala talked about the busing, like, I was bussed. Do you remember that debate when, like, Kamala really put him in his place? Yeah, and she was talking about, listen, Joe, I was bussed too. Like, and supposedly Joe never forgot it. To this day, never forgot it.
And certainly Jill didn't.
Correct. He really loved Whitmer, but felt pressed to nominate Kamala.
But he said he was going to nominate a black woman. I mean, he said that early, that it was going to be a black woman.
But he really wanted Whitmer. And so there was, unless I misunderstood this episode that I just listened to, there was talk that he wanted to, I don't know if there was time for a primary, but nominate maybe even Whitmer, not Kamala, to replace him. There was like a statement, and Kamala was like, are you going to name me? And he's like, and so there was this whole kerfuffle with all the Bidens and this other family, and then all of a sudden it was Kamala. Like, I remember I was working out downstairs and I was like, what? Like, hold on. Like, why can't we choose and have faith that if we want her, then we'll choose her? It was maddening. Now, in terms of the cancer thing, I totally understand why you might think that the timing's a little suspicious. But, like, in the release of it, about the knowledge that he has cancer. But I also wonder, because they were so protective and they truly were not giving tests that they should have been giving tests to, that now he could be doing the tests now. I only say this because, and again, a lot of when I am with you and we talk, like, I make things very personal, but I just know that when my dad was diagnosed with cancer, it was very advanced. And he was not well for a while, and he just didn't want to go to the doctor. Now, I know he's not the president, but I also know that they were trying not to deal with it. Like you said, maybe they wanted to just like, let's just get another term, and then we'll deal with it once he gets through. And then maybe we'd actually let the doctor do the tests that we're suspicious of. This is the only reason that I think maybe it was that instead of what you're thinking, is that if he was diagnosed with advanced cancer, that they would start to treat it immediately.
Well, that was one of the other articles that I read, was that because it's a hormonal, this aggressive type of cancer is due to hormones, is hormonal, that part of the treatment is to do like an anti-testosterone or take away testosterone or whatever treatment. And some of the side effects of that is, cognitive decline, muscle mass. So that would, explain the shuffling and I see. So maybe he was being treated for it. And again, they did not. Do you remember
what article that was, where you got that article?
I think that was the Free Press article that was talking about that was interviewing the three doctors that, we're familiar with. Yeah. So let me take this a little bit. I want to go a little bit deeper here. Here's my concern now is that I think so many Democrats like you are so pissed off at the whole Democrat machine. Yeah. That I am concerned that somebody like Bernie and AOC is really gaining traction because so much trust has been lost in the mainstream Democratic Party.
Or you think it's going to go farther right left?
I think it'll go so far left that this whole thing, the Biden health, the Biden presidency, the Kamala loss to Trump, all of that is truly going to be the impetus behind a generational change of the Democratic Party. I mean, because you had so many Democrats that voted for Trump, right? I mean, so there were so many people that I think the Democratic Party now will look for, who we are, who are we? And they're going to come up with something that's so far out of the middle of the road. It's going to be the AOC and the Bernies and that whole, what we're seeing on college campuses. And it's going to be this new generation of Democrats that get their energy and their strength from, this fringe, what I think, and I think that you think is kind of a fringe element of the Democratic Party.
I mean, I personally, I like Bernie a lot. I think he's too old to be the president again. I like AOC's
lipstick.
I like her lipstick, and I like that she seems unafraid and passionate. I like that. I don't think should be president either. I think when they talk about the next generation of Democrats, I actually think about it being our age, not the kids. The old boomers need to get the F out. They all need to get out. Schumer, Pelosi, you've had a great run. Get out. Get out. Time to get out. Get out and give the new grown-ups a shot.
Who are those?
You obviously have Gavin. I follow Pete Buttigieg. I think he's fantastic. He's so smart, so even, so innovative. I think he's one. I think Whitmer's one. Those are the people, in my opinion, that are going to come up because they also understand as the new grown-ups that we need to stop this divisiveness. That doesn't mean that we agree with everything the other person says, but we try to figure out a way to have real conversations and come together and work together.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Just talking to my friends and even, interacting with viewers and listeners who are on the left, they are just as frustrated and exhausted as I am, as you are.
Well, I know that you are a Bernie fan, so I'm glad to hear you say, though, that I think what you're saying is you would rather see someone a little more centrist.
He has been consistent from day one.
True.
He has a message, and he tells it, and he brings all kinds of people out to listen to him, and that is what I dig. Working class people like him, elites like him, he's just a smart, straight arrow guy. He's no BS. He's not locked in. He's not in all of the nonsense. And that's why I like him. And pairing up with AOC, I think they're trying to take the country's temperature. Maybe I'm naive. I don't think they're doing it to run for the president. I think they're trying to take the temperature in terms of, because Bernie's an independent.
Do you think he's a socialist?
I don't know. He's not a fan of Trump. Let's go with that. But they both don't like Trump.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think they're out there taking the temperature to see, okay, and talking to people and what do we do for next time? What do people care about? And he's just delivering the message he's delivered for the last 30 years. And people are wanting to listen. They're scared. They're tired. They're worried. I really think in terms of the Democratic Party, gosh, we are so exhausted with the lies.
Right.
And now, if there's anything good that's coming out of it, maybe people will stand up and say, enough.
Yeah.
I feel totally naive. This is politics. You've been in it way more than me. You've understood that way more than I have.
But I think you're an idealist, which is a really typical liberal, we're all human and we all just get along. And I'm more of a conspiracy theorist. And I'm like, I think there's an ulterior motive to everything. And I don't know if that's a conservative thing or if that's just a personal thing for me. It's probably a personal thing. But so I think, I just think that things are so much deeper than what we see, that there's, 12 layers that we don't see. And I think this whole conversation about Biden has brought that out.
Absolutely. And, what do we do about it? I guess we vote new people in. That's the only thing we can do about it. It's not like, if we just go, oh, we can't do anything about it, then it's gonna stay the same. On the right too. Like, you want people to advocate for what you want and need. Yeah. And if they're just busy trying to figure out how to stay in power, that's not helpful to me or to you.
Yeah. But again, you were so disenchanted with Hillary getting the nomination over Sanders. And wasn't that the doing of the Democratic Party, that they handpicked her?
Oh, absolutely. Listen,
then how do you have any power?
I loved Hillary, even though you did not. I did, and I was so excited that we were going to get a woman president and all of that. But, as I said, I guess in a different episode at the Democratic convention, I was like, ew. He was robbed.
So how do you think that you can, when you say we can just vote in, we got to vote in the right people? That was rigged. How do you have faith in a system?
I don't.
And then this has happened with Biden again. You're going, this system, there are people on the inside who are making these decisions, and we as individuals are completely powerless.
Like the Democratic National Committee, in my opinion, they all need to be fired. They all need to go. They do not get it. They don't care that they don't get it. And they do not get it. I don't know how one does that. I'll just say this. If Democrats want to get into power again, you have to fire everyone in the Democratic National Committee. And all the oldies and goodies gotta go. Gotta go.
I hope it's not at the peril of our United States, and that you go off the deep end and you get somebody, you get a socialist instead of a true Democrat. I hope the Democrats can come up with a centrist.
I, at this point, would just like a really good, clear-minded, middle-aged president.
I'm sorry, Gavin? Gavin, is that you?
Maybe. Maybe it's Gretchen. Maybe it's Pete.
Yeah.
It's not Bernie.
Okay, good.
Love you, Bernie. That's what I want. What were you going to say?
That I listened to the podcast you sent me on Gavin Newsom with Frank Luntz, and I love Frank Luntz. And so that was so good. And I did it on my walk, so I only got to listen to about a half hour of it. The respect that they have for each other is so great. And I loved that.
That's why I sent it to you. I thought, well, here you go. He's frustrated.
Yeah.
He's frustrated too, just like I am, just like you are. He wants people to work together.
Yep.
And be considerate and respectful.
And that's why we're here.
That is why we're here. That is why we're here. Do you have a would you rather?
I do.
All right. Give it to me.
You go. No, you go first this time.
Would you rather find a rat in your kitchen?
Oh, God.
Or a roach in your bed?
Oh, a roach.
You'd rather have a roach in your bed?
Yeah. A rat? Okay, but here's the thing about rats. I had never seen a rat until we moved to New Orleans, and Jeff and I were sitting out on our front porch one night, and it was, dark. I mean, it was, at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night. And we're looking up at the power lines, and we see a rat running across the power line. And I'm like, was that a squirrel? And then I'm like, okay, no, it's a night squirrel. I mean, people call rats in New Orleans night squirrels because you got squirrels during the day and rats at night. Rats are just going from power pole. I mean, and I'm like, It's a rat. I'd never seen a rat before. That was disgusting.
I'm sorry, you've never seen a rat before? You lived near farms in Iowa.
We have mice. We have mice. We had mice all the time. I mean, mice is so common. Like a mouse is nothing. A rat is huge and it's got a long tail and it's disgusting.
So anytime you came to New York and you took
Never
the subway, you never saw the rats in the subway?
Never saw
or
a rat
running around the garbage on the street in the summertime?
Oh, God. Okay, stop. Seriously, that gives me goosebumps.
So gross.
So give me a bug in my bed that I can kill.
Really?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Because I can kill a roach. A rat? How are you going to get a rat? Oh, God. I can't even. Would you rather spend a week in a child care center or a week in a nursing home?
Oh, child care center any day.
Oh, really?
I love kids. Except when they scream.
No, yeah.
But one of my jobs, like, when I had graduated from college before I moved to New York, we had a family friend that owned these, it was called Marin Day School, and she had, like, after-school programs and daycare programs, and it went from babies to, I think it was 8th grade, and I was the sub, so I moved from, like, infants to, I loved the 5 to 8-year-olds. They were my favorites. I'd run around and play with them. Yeah, I loved them.
You are a kid at heart, so that makes sense.
And honestly, like, old people, I know you're a fan, and here I am saying, get the old people out. So rude. You guys, I don't mean it like that. I mean it like, step aside.
What does Bob Fonero think of this
You've
right
done
now?
You've done a great job, boomers. It's time to let us do the job now. Bob Fonero is a child at heart too.
Okay, all right.
He swears and he runs around but yeah, I mean, I remember being a little girl and us going to nursing homes as a field trip, and it scared the crap out of me.
Really?
I didn't like the smell, and it just freaked me out. But to be fair, like, I go hang out at the senior living with my dad, and they're super sweet. But yeah, I'd rather hang out with the kids.
Childcare. Okay, I like it.
I might regret this because the screaming is too much. Too much. All right, my friend.
Thank you once again for having a good conversation.
Thank you. And I'll see you on the flip. And thank you all for listening and going on this ride with us.
Thank you.